أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والوالدات يرضعن أولادهن حولين كاملين لمن أراد أن يتم الرضاعة، وعلى المولود له رزقهن وكسوتهن بالمعروف، لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها، لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود له بولده، وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك، فإن أرادا فصالا عن تراض منهما وتشاور فلا جناح عليهما، وإن أردتم أن تسترضعوا أولادكم فلا جناح عليكم إذا سلمتم ما آتيتم بالمعروف، واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله بما تعملون بصير. والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا يتربصن بأنفسهن 4 أشهر وعشرا، فإذا بلغن أجلهن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلن في أنفسهن بالمعروف، والله بما تعملون خبير. صدق الله العظيم. In the previous ayat, the ahkam, the rulings regarding talaq, divorce, were being discussed. The iddah, the waiting for a lady who is divorced, how long that is. Some ahkam, these ahkam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran al-Kareem regarding divorce, as we mentioned, that these are some, usually the furu' of deen, the masail of fiqh. These, as far as details, usually are not mentioned. As we said, for example, salah, how exactly to perform salah, in which sequence, etc., it's not mentioned. So some ahkam Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned details. From amongst them is that of talaq. Now one reality is that talaq sometimes happens before spouses have children, and unfortunately sometimes it happens even after they have children. So in this context, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also is mentioning one haqq, one right of the children. And one haqq of a child Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning. Through this there is indication that although spouses may be going through a troubled marriage, but the huquq of the children, the rights of the children should not become jeopardized because of this. That the issue that two spouses have amongst themselves, they should still take care, make sure that the children are having the right upbringing, whether it's their physical upbringing or whether it's their akhlaq and their character and their ilmi tarbiyah, their not the education, the Islamic education, the worldly education, all of these different aspects that parents are supposed to be taking care of their children, that should not be ignored and that should not be affected because of whatever difference that they have amongst themselves. Now, obviously that's easier said than done, but this is something that a person or spouses should keep in mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the midst of these ayat of talaq is mentioning one haqq of the child which is born, that is rada'ah, that the mother breastfeeds the child. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ لِمَنْ أَرَادَ يُتِمَّ الرَّضَاعَةِ. That the mothers of the children, that they will breastfeed their children for 2 years, liman arad an yutim al-radha'a, for those that want to complete the time, meaning the maximum amount of time that radha'a can be done is that of 2 years. Hawlaini kamilain. Hawlain kamilain means 2 years. 2 complete years is the maximum amount of radha'a, of breastfeeding, that can be done. So that's as far as the mother is concerned. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives her one command regarding the mother, that make sure that you do not falter because of whatever issues are happening. Do not falter in as far as the tarbiyah of the child, physical tarbiyah over here, and as far as the child's haqq upon you in this regard is concerned. Then the father, وَعَلَى الْمَوْلُودِ لَهُ رِزْقُهُنْ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that the mawlud lahu referring to the father. وَعَلَى الْمَوْلُودِ لَهُ refers to the father, that upon him is رِزْقُهُنْ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. That this is in the context of divorcees. So when a man divorces his wife, for the iddah period, it is still his responsibility to provide for her rizq and وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ, for her clothing. So whatever, basically what is referred to as her expenditure. So whatever expenditure, normal expenditure that comes, whatever normal expenditure that a person usually takes care of anyways, for that period of time, the man will still have to complete and continue providing for that. So if, for example, the monthly expenditure for whatever food, etc., is, and whatever other necessities are $1,000, then he'll continue with that even during the time of the iddah of talaq. So it's not that the man says that I have given you talaq and you your way and me my way. No, during the time of the iddah, this is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the man still has to take care of her as long as she is in the iddah period. وَعَلَى الْمَوْلُودِ لَهُ رِزْقُهُنْ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ لَا تُكَلَّفُ نَفْسٌ إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. That no soul shall be burdened except for what they can bear. لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not put a burden upon a soul except that much that they can bear. Now this ayah should be understood very in the clear light. There's another ayah that's like it, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not put a burden upon a soul except what it can bear. This doesn't mean that each person says, okay, what can I do, what can I not do? So for example, winter Fajr Salah, too hard for me. So لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Ramadan, fasting, forget it. Who can fast 17 hours? Huh? So that it's not that each person takes it upon himself and says, how much of this can I do, can I not do? That's not what the ayah means. The ayah means that the shari'at of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها. That is the shari'ah. The shari'ah which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, which has been revealed upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that we follow, and that is in the Quran and Sunnah, that already is لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها. In it is already that much that a person can do as a human being. So what is can do, that is what it means. That the Sharia is something that we can do. Will there be some difficulty, mashaqqa, what we call it, in the way? Yes, that happens. The Sharia didn't say that it's necessarily everything's a piece of cake. No, there is some mujahada, there is some sacrifice that a person has to give, just like we do for all other things. So that's how Sharia is also. So لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها, that is the Sharia. لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود له بولده. That during this period, now many a times this is what comes to happen, that during the divorce period, each party now is trying to harm the other in whichever way they can. So sometimes the children are involved also, that they use the children. So for example, the father says that the mother is obviously attached to the child, so he will try to harm her by saying, I'm going to take the child away and not let you breastfeed the child. And some people do, or the vice versa, the woman says that, okay, it's your child, do whatever you want with it, I'm not going to breastfeed the child now. And just to harm the other spouse, they start using the child in the middle. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that this isn't correct. The one is that you have your personal whatever issues amongst yourselves that it's not working, but don't keep it in the expense of the child. لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود له بولده. That the mother should not be harmed by means of her child, nor should the father be harmed by means of the child. Meaning the one spouse should not use the child as a means of harming the other. لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود له بولده. وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك. There are multiple tafsir of this segment. وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك. One tafsir is that whoever, say for example, the father passes away, so now وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك, whoever is the inheritor now, for example, it would be the grandfather. If the father passed away, then the next wali will become the grandfather. The grandfather, he will have to make sure that the child is, that the correct upbringing is given to the child, whatever he has to be provided for, etc. وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك. That's one tafsir of it. Another tafsir is that other waratha, for example, that the other inheritors. Warith means inheritors. So for example, the father is the inheritor of his mother, so it's also his responsibility that if the mother is at is of an age, or the father is of an age that they cannot take care of themselves, then just like they happily take care of their own children, they should take care of their parents as well. وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك. This is another tafsir of it. That anyone who is an inheritor of another, and they are blood relatives, so then they also have to take care of the expenditure of their parents, for example, grandparents, for example, if the children aren't there. وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك. فإن أرادا فصالا عن تراض منهما وتشاور فلا جناح عليهما. And in the beginning of the ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that the wajib amount, that is of 2 years, the maximum amount of breastfeeding is 2 years. What if both the parents agreed that no, we don't want to do it for 2 years, rather for lesser than that? So then, فَإِنْ أَرَادَ فِصَالًا, if they decide to wean the child, عَنْ تَرَاضٍ مِّنْهُمَا, by mutual agreement, وَتَشَاوُرٍ, and with consulting. Tashawur, mushawara, having mashura. So they consult with one another. فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِمَا, there's nothing wrong with that. So this in itself is a sharp indication that everything when it comes to with marriage, whether it's regarding the children or other things, there should be a dialogue that happens between spouses, that they should discuss things with mutually try to come to an agreement and not leave any ill feelings. فإن أرادا فصالا عن تراض منهما تشاور فلا جناح عليهما وإن أردتم أن تسترضعوا أولادكم, that if sometimes some women cannot breastfeed the children, sometimes it's not possible for whatever reasons that may be. وَإِنْ أَرَدْتُمْ أَن تَسْتَرْضِعُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ, that if you want to look for another wet nurse for your child, فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ, there's nothing wrong with that as well, as long as إِذَا سَلَّمْتُمْ مَا أَتَيْتُمْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, as long as you hand over, you pay whatever you were supposed to pay, بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Meaning there's two aspects here. One is that if you hire someone as a wet nurse for your child, one is make sure you pay them. Why? Because if you don't pay someone, they don't do the job correctly. This is also, Mufassir mentioned this under this ayah. Then make sure you do pay them in an appropriate manner, so that what is the objective of it, that the child nourishment, the child's tarbiyah, etc. is done, that they do that correctly. If you don't pay them correctly, they won't work correctly. إِذَا سَلَّمْتُمْ مَا آتَيْتُمْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and the other aspect is that what you agree to, make sure you pay that. What a person agrees to giving to a person, so it's not that at the beginning of the contract you agree to a certain amount, by the end you say, well, you didn't do this correctly, do here and there, you etc., make excuses and not pay the person the due amount. So إِذَا سَلَّمْتُمْ مَا آتَيْتُمْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. As you know, as we explained this, after each segment, after each ayat of all the divorce, everything, what comes at the end? وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. Again and again, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. Whereas it's not, these aren't ayat of ibadat, it's not of salah, it's not of hajj, it's not of zakah. But still after every few ayat, some reminder of taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Have the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and know that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all seeing regarding whatever you do. So the next ayat we'll do in the next session. صدق الله العظيم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك.
Getting to Allah.